we have discussed a topic called the lanthanoid contraction. ठीक है, so lanthanoid contraction में क्या कहा था मैंने? What is lanthanoid contraction? Decrease in size of ions due to the intervention of 4f electron, especially in the third transition series, is known as lanthanoid contraction. So that means fourth period, fifth period, sixth period. Lanthanum, afterwards, the element given in the periodic table is hafnium. In between 14 elements are missing. These elements are called lanthanoids. And 14 means the filling up of 4f subshell, which has maximum capacity of 14 electrons. Because of the presence of these electrons, yesterday we have seen that on which shell these electrons are entering. Maybe आपको याद होगा, the shell in which filling up of electron takes place in F, it is called the anti-penultimate shell. Anti-penultimate shell is near to the nucleus, but it has poor because of its poor shielding effect. There is a decrease in size of atom takes place. Poor shielding. What do you mean by shielding effect? It is also very important. Shielding effect means there is a force which is experienced between two electrons of the same subshell. Two electrons of the same subshell. So this shielding is less in the case of 4f. Because of that, the nuclear force of attraction is more. Since nuclear force of attraction is more, the size of the ions decreasing throughout the series. And because of this, there is significance in transition series, and it is of third transition series. There is similarity in atomic size of third transition series and second transition series. We have done one example also, zirconium and hafnium. Zirconium belongs to second transition series. It has the atomic size 160 picometer. Hafnium has the atomic size 159. Close atomic size both of these atoms have. Because of this, they show similarity in physical and chemical properties, and their separation is a difficult task. Because of the similarity in size, in the earth crust, they exist together. They coexist in the earth crust. Coexist, understood? Coexist means they exist together in the earth crust. Because of the closeness in physical and chemical property, the separation is a difficult task. This is the significance of lanthanoid contraction. Okay. So this is the point that you have to take care, and it is very important. Okay. Next question, next topic you can mention, enthalpy of atomization. Enthalpy of atomization. What is enthalpy of atomization? First of all, you understand what is enthalpy of atomization. Enthalpy of atomization is the amount of energy required for the liberation of atom from the molecule. Liberation of atoms, or liberation of atoms from the bonding. So we have learned that in the case of transition elements, the type of bond present is metallic bonding. In fact, they have strong metallic bonding, and from this strong metallic bonding, we need to take the atoms of the elements out. For that purpose, how much energy is required? How much heat energy is required? This amount of energy is known as enthalpy of atomization. Okay, and here the question you have to mention as, generally transition elements have high enthalpy of atomization. Give reason. Why is it so? Okay, understood the question? transition elements have high enthalpy of atomization. Okay, and you can understand the answer. So first I will explain the answer, then you can write it down. Okay, when we look at transition elements, you know that filling up of D subshell takes place, and perhaps one more subshell is also there, that is porous subshell, which is present in the outermost shell. So in the case of transition elements, sometimes porous is also filling, sometimes D subshell is also filling. So there is a chance of large number of unpaired electrons, okay, in the atom. Because of the presence of large number of unpaired electron, their interatomic interaction is very strong. Interatomic interaction. Inter means in between. Atomic means in between the atom. So their interatomic interactions are very strong. As a result, there is strong bonding between atoms. Consequently, they possess high enthalpy of atomization. So these are the correlated points. Okay, I'll repeat. Transition elements possess large number of unpaired electrons in their atoms. Because of that, they have strong interatomic interactions, which resulting strong bonding between atoms. As a result, they possess high enthalpy of atomization. I hope it is clear to you. It is directly related to the term unpaired electron. That is important. Okay, unpaired electron and strong metallic bonding, strong interaction. So this is all about the enthalpy of atomization. Okay. Next topic is अच्छा slow बोलना है. Okay, बता देती हूँ एक और बार फिर से. Transition elements possess large number of unpaired electrons in their atoms. Unpaired electron, large number. First point, they have stronger interatomic interaction. They have stronger interatomic interaction. Okay. These together will make strong bonding between the atoms. Strong bonding between the atoms. As a result, they possess high enthalpy of atomization. As a result, they possess high enthalpy of atomization. I hope it is clear to you, Ayush. Okay. Next topic you can mention ionization enthalpies. You can mention the point ionization enthalpy. Very important. Normally, when we are discussing the topic ionization enthalpy, it is the amount of energy required to release the most loosely held electron from an isolated gaseous atom. This is appropriate for representative elements. Representative means S and P block elements because their properties are directly related to outermost shell electron only. But in the case of transition elements, along with the outermost electron, inner electrons are also enter into bond formation. So, loosely held means there is only one. It does not mean that transition elements have only one. Transition elements are capable of forming only one ion, one type of ion, +1 or +2. No, it is capable of showing larger oxidation state, higher oxidation state, like +7, +6, +4, +3 and all. Okay. And because of that, when we are discussing the topic ionization enthalpy, we will discuss first ionization, second ionization, third ionization, etc. So these three ionization we will discuss together. Okay. So try to understand. First ionization means what? What is the general configuration? Well, first I will explain it in board. Okay. Then I will conclude it. General configuration is N-2, N-1, D12, Here we are talking of transition elements. So the configuration is 1 to 9, NS2. 2 means what? Maximum capacity of S. So during first ionization, what will happen? They lose one electron out of the two. So the electron is taken from S. Second ionization means first electron from S. Second ionization enthalpy means they have to take one electron again from S. Because S is capable of accommodating maximum of 2 electrons. So first ionization, one electron is removed. Second ionization, second electron also removed. What about third ionization? During third ionization, electron is taken from the inner shell. Inner shell means penultimate shell. So D electrons are present in the penultimate shell. So you can also imagine that penultimate shell means the shell which is near to the nucleus compared to the valence electron. Okay. Because of that, extra energy is required to remove electron from the penultimate shell. So studies proves that when we take third ionization enthalpy, one electron is taken from D subshell. One electron is taken from D subshell. And experimental observations prove that third ionization is equivalent to first ionization plus second ionization. This is the calculation. Okay, this is the fact. Third ionization is equivalent to first and second ionization. Sum of all. So you can imagine how high it is. Why is it very high? Because during third ionization, electron is taken from penultimate shell. So this is the question. Okay. Third ionization enthalpy of transition elements are very high as compared to first and second ionization enthalpies. What is the reason? During first and second ionization, electrons are taken from the S subshell, but during third ionization, electrons are taken from the D subshell, which is very close to the nucleus. So in order to remove electron from the penultimate shell, more energy is required. Therefore, third ionization enthalpy of transition elements are equivalent to the sum of first and second ionizations. Understood? Is it clear to all? अगर समझ में आ गया, please chat box में लिख लो why. Because this is a conceptual chapter, तुम लोग साथ साथ मुझे respond दिया करो, ठीक है? Poonam and Govind and Mary, very good. Okay, Alima also, Shifa, very good. Okay, Rakesh, Suraj, very good. जो बच्चे रेस्पॉन्ड करेंगे ना तो अच्छा लगता है मुझे, लेकिन मुझे कुछ फीडबैक मिल रहा है. समीर, आमिर, वेरी गुड. सो अदरवाइज आई कीप ऑन मेकिंग यू अंडरस्टैंड. और आपको बीच में कोई डाउट है तो आई कुड नॉट मेक आउट बिकॉज नोवेयर इज देयर इन द पिक्चर. Okay, because it is a virtual class, but I feel that you are there in front of me. Okay, I know the face, each and every face I can imagine. Benches are also there. Okay, so now I feel that all are there in the classroom. Clear? So Next one, this is the next point. And next point you can remember, oxidation state. Every point is related to conceptual questions. Okay, every point. So next point you can mention oxidation state. So there the key point is transition elements are capable of showing variable oxidation state. Transition elements are capable of showing variable oxidation state. Okay, this is the key point. Now, give reason why transition elements are capable of showing variable oxidation state. Very simple reason. You know that transition elements, electrons are filling in the penultimate shell, second last shell. Okay, perhaps two electrons are there in the outermost shell. Okay, then electrons are keep adding in the penultimate shell. So during chemical reaction, along with the outermost electron, inner electrons are also enter into chemical reactions. Along with the outermost electron and inner electrons. Inner electron means electrons present in the second last shell also enter into chemical reaction. Because of that, they are capable of showing variable oxidation state. Means अलग-अलग oxidation state show करते हैं transition elements. ठीक है? So मैं आपको example दे सकती हूँ variable oxidation state category में. Suppose we take the element scandium. Okay, scandium you can write scandium with atomic number 21. Atomic number 21. What is the configuration? Now I am explaining a very important topic. Okay, very simple example. Let us take scandium with atomic number 21. Configuration is argon configuration 4s2 3d1. Okay, so first of all, these two electrons are enter into chemical reaction because they are the outermost electron. So the first oxidation state shown by scandium is +2. And second case, all the three electrons are enter into chemical reaction along with the one more electron in. So its oxidation state is +3. So scandium is capable of showing two oxidation state. One is +2 and +3. Next element is titanium with atomic number 23. Its configuration is argon configuration 4s2 3d2. 3d2, you know that 3d2 is like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 means like this. According to Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity, 1 electrons are entered first. Okay, and because of this, first it is capable of showing this oxidation state, that is +2. Then it is capable of showing next oxidation state, that means +3. It is capable of removing one electron from D subshell. Next is it is capable of removing all the 4 electrons. So it is capable of showing this 4 oxidation state. So in this way, titanium is capable of showing +2, +3, +2. So these are the starting elements: scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese. When you are going to like this, so the number of oxidation state keep increasing up to manganese. Manganese, let us think about the manganese. I will first write manganese. Manganese with atomic number 25. Argon configuration 4s2 3d5. Now I will draw the structure. 3d5 means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4s2 means so this is the way electrons are arranged. So you can see that this +2 electron removed outermost shell. Then it is capable of removing one by one. +2, +3, +4, +5, +6, +7. See that manganese is the element capable of showing maximum oxidation state. Moreover, it is the element which shows the highest oxidation state in the transition series. So in this way, since inner electrons are also enter into chemical reaction, all transition elements are capable of showing variable oxidation state. Got it? So this is the point that you have to take it care. They are capable of showing variable oxidation state. Clear? I hope it is clear to you. This much examples are more than sufficient. Okay. Okay. So these are the points. Let us see the slide. Some slides are also there. Notes. We have already started this, so I'll show you little more. Now I'm sharing screen. Those topic we have already seen. We will not see it again. Ionization enthalpy is also we have seen uh, oxidation state. So you can see that. Have you seen this oxidation state? Transition elements capable of showing variable oxidation state. Within a transition series, the highest oxidation state generally increases with increase in atomic number, reaches to a maximum value. You can see that all these elements belongs to first transition series: scandium, titanium, vanadium. And when we are moving from the middle to the right extreme, number of oxidation state keep decreasing. The reason is that when we are moving from manganese to zinc, pairing of electrons takes place. So the electrons which are already paired, they have the least tendency to enter into bond formation. That's why from iron, cobalt, nickel, number of oxidation state decreasing. See that plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 6. Cobalt only 3 are there. Nickel also 3 oxidation state. Copper 2 oxidation state. Zinc only 1 oxidation state. Okay. So this is also important. Uh, these are the all elements belong to the category first transition series. Okay. I think it is clear to you. We will move into the next slide. So in this case, presence of variable oxidation state in transition element due to the participation of the inner n-1 d subshell electrons along with the outermost n electron. Okay. In the first transition series, the most common oxidation state +2. You know that why is it +2? Because 2 electrons present in the s subshell. They are mandatorily, they will be enter into chemical reaction. So that's why most common oxidation state is +2. And after that, which electrons enter into chemical reaction? D electrons. Okay. So the first transition series, most common oxidation state +2 due to the participation of only the Ns electron. And this is the lowest oxidation state. Highest oxidation state is the sum of Ns and N-1. So this is the point in continuation with the same. And this point is very important. Write the heading: standard electrode potential. Trend in standard electrode potential. Is the slide is visible to you? आपको बोलना पड़ेगा because chat box is not visible. Okay.
Yes,
Higher
ma'am.
the negative standard reduction potential of a particular ion, greater is its stability. Okay, so here we will discuss one different unique property of one particular element, and that is copper. That point is very important. That's why I have shown this. You know that copper is not capable of liberating hydrogen from dilute acid. So I will give the example. When we react copper with hydrochloric acid, Cu plus HCl, is there any reaction takes place? Is copper capable of releasing hydrogen gas? Anyone? Is it capable?
No, ma'am.
No. It is not capable of releasing hydrogen because we know this basic concept in the reactivity series. Position of copper is below hydrogen. That's why it is not capable of releasing hydrogen gas from the mineral acid. This is the reason, but this is applicable for only lower class. Now you are in 12th class, you have to improve your standard of answering the question. You have to improve. So in this case, we will discuss some other point in relation with this particular concept, why copper is not capable of liberating hydrogen from mineral acid. So what is the reason? Because, so you can mention the point, we know that copper is exists in the solid state. So in order to convert copper into copper ion, large amount of energy is required. Large amount of energy is required. And this energy is not balanced with hydration enthalpy of copper. This is not balanced with the hydration enthalpy of copper. And because of this reason, it is not releasing hydrogen from mineral acid. So I will repeat the point. Large amount of energy is required for the transition of copper from solid state to aqueous state. Large amount of energy is required, and this energy required is not balanced with the hydration enthalpy of copper. Okay, hydration enthalpy of copper, and because of this, copper has positive electrode potential. Maybe you remember the value when we had discussed electrochemistry chapter, we have already learned the value. Minus is for zinc, plus is for copper, plus 0.36 volt, plus. It is only one case which has a positive value of electrode potential. Why is it there like that? Because it has very high enthalpy of atomization and very low enthalpy of hydration. That's why I have discussed this one. Low enthalpy of hydration is there. That's why it is not balanced with that required for the transformation of copper in the solid state to copper in the ionic state. Okay, the rest of the elements, rest of the metals in the transition series having negative value, like I will give one example that you can remember. Zinc. Zinc has the electrode potential value minus 0.74 volt. Okay, minus. When we discuss all the points related to all transition elements which belong to first transition series, their electrode potentials are negative except copper. And here the reason is mentioned very clearly, and you can mention this point in very short way. It is mentioned copper has a positive reduction potential value. Give reason. Okay, give reason. There you can write this reason. It has high enthalpy of atomization. This point is matching with the transformation energy from solid to aqueous state. This is what we say. And it has very low enthalpy of hydration. It has very low enthalpy of hydration. So these are the key points you can remember. So actual reaction rate of liberation of hydrogen is very poor. Okay. I will explain one more point. In the case of copper, the value is positive. Other case, zinc you can use. Zinc is capable of liberating hydrogen gas from HCl. Zinc, because it has the value negative electrode potential value. Okay, so that is very important. Negative electrode potential value, it is capable. But copper is capable of reacting with the oxidizing acid. Can you give one example of acid which is function as an oxidizing agent too? Anyone? Which is function as an oxidizing agent? It is an acid also. Anyone? Which acid is function as an oxidizing agent also? Anyone can say the answer?
H2SO4. Yeah.
No, H2SO4 not function. This is answer everybody has written in descriptive answers also. That we have that assessment offer.
HNO3.
HNO3 only nitric acid is function as an oxidizing agent. So copper is capable of reacting with both dilute HNO3 and concentrated HNO3. The reason is where nitric acid is function as an oxidizing agent, it itself undergo reduction. You know that oxidizing agent undergo reduction. Because of this reduction process, it is nitric acid gets converted into, sometimes it converted into nitrogen dioxide NO2, sometimes it converted into N2O, sometimes it converted into NO. So in the case of copper, nitric acid get reduced. Okay, so because of that, it is capable of reacting with the copper. There also hydrogen gas is not liberated. There this reduced form of nitric acid, that is N2O, it is a gas. NO2, it is also a gas. NO, these all gases can release. But instead of hydrogen, H2O is released. H2O. Why? Because nitric acid is function as an oxidizing agent. So hydrogen which is liberated, which is supposed to be liberated from copper, which is liberated in very small quantity, it gets converted into water. So hydrogen gas is not visible. Instead of that, the byproduct obtained is water when copper reacts with nitric acid. So this is the story behind reaction with the copper and nitric acid. But it is not capable of reacting with any other acids. Okay, this is the reason. Because of the positive reduction potential value. So this is all about oxidation. So that means electrode potential. Now next class we will discuss the next property. So I'm coming back. I'm stop sharing now. So this is all about the point that we will discuss in this class. We'll continue in our next class. Okay. So I've already told you twice or thrice. Whenever we discuss the points in this way, conceptual, every topic is a question. Every topic is a conceptual question.